When we think about the idea of regulation, we really have to think about where regulation comes from. And in very many ways, neurologically, as well as in all of our lived experience day to day, regulation comes from our ability to ground ourselves in a felt sense of safety. That felt sense of safety gives rise to the possibility for engagement and exploration. And at the end of the day, our participation is really colored by the beauty of exploration and the possibilities of engagement. Our capacities that support participation are grounded in sensation. So, when difficulties in sensory integrative processing defy setting that foundation for safety, and also thinking about how when we start to feel dysregulated, we really need to find refuge in our own bodies, in the environment around us, and in the relationships that co-regulate us. That ability to settle back into regulation is transformative, and it's a critical part of the work that we do over and over and over again, working with children where they're in moments of regulation and they're able to participate. And then they move into dysregulation or disruption for whatever reason that might occur. And as we work to identify that, support that, help them to find safety even in moments of dysregulation, and or move back into a state of regulation. That doesn't always mean to calm down. It means to find what is just right for them. Concepts from Jean Ayres apply to the concept of regulation. And it's really important for us to honor the broad theory of sensory integration as we think about sensory-informed foundations for regulation. So let's take a peek at this scene for a minute. For me, I live in Denver, Colorado in the United States, and one of my places of refuge is really somewhere in nature, often in the mountains outside of the beautiful city that I have a chance to live in. So when I find myself on a beautiful little patio area out in the woods, I can find not only kind of a downregulation and a settling in my nervous system, but throughout my essence, a real felt sense of safety. But if I were a child or an adult that happened to struggle with sensory responsivity and being able to stay regulated regardless of the quality of sensation going on around me, or vice versa, if I found myself in a state where sensation was heightened because I needed to be a little bit more alert, or I was anxious and overwhelmed and not able to find that sense of refuge and settling, then I might have not just an over-responsive nervous system, but really a negative response with a lack of felt safety. And what you're seeing here is just kind of a cartoon version of what might happen to a person who would be in that same place of potential refuge. And yet here, instead of the lights being twinkling and glimmering and inviting a sense of wonder, the lights might be intrusive and too variable in order for me to handle and process them. That cozy little fire that was next to me may feel intense and looming, even potentially threatening. Instead of a nice, cozy cup of tea next to me, I might be worried that the tea isn't the right temperature, a little too hot or a little too cold. The cozy blanket that I might be cuddling with could feel or look prickly to me and make it hard for me to feel that sense of safety in my own skin and as my body interacts with the world around me. The sound or feel of buzzing bugs, the potential looming threat of an animal that I can't predict, and things that may present themselves in unfamiliar ways, all shift this from a place of cozy refuge into really a place that is not safe at all. So the contrast is something that is illuminated here in contrasting related to this word safety. Because when we think about regulation, really the foundation of that is, do I feel comfortable? Do I feel safe? Do I feel okay in my skin and in my environment? And if I don't have that felt sense of safety, then the chances of my responding either too much with signals that coincide to the threat, or so much overwhelm that maybe I start to shut down and I don't respond in a way at all. And so it's important for us to start to consider this concept of safety as the base of regulation. In so many ways, I'm drawing from the polyvagal theory here from Dr. Porges. And we understand that felt safety comes not just from knowing that the rules are in place and that nothing overtly harmful could happen to me, but it's more of a physical, social, and emotional sense of safety that we're looking for. And really importantly, that sense of safety is fully embodied. It's something that I feel really almost from the tip of my toes up to the top of my head, and I feel it in every part of me and every cell, in the vibration of my cells. And really, the cues that my nervous system is taking in are tipping in the direction of telling me you're safe or you're not safe, you're comfortable or you're not comfortable. Very often in our pediatric OT literature, we've missed this basic layer of processing where sensation and affect come together to cue us about the very basic hedonic tone or valence of the sensory quality itself. And that tipping point, is it safe or not? Do I feel comfortable or not comfortable? Ends up setting the thresholds for response.